Hi everyone. I'm John. I'm work for Fee, who's hosting this program, and these are my these are your lecturers today. Catherine and Jack are both seniors at UGA, University of Georgia, and they're going to talk to you about college and career readiness. And we'll leave about 10 to 15 minutes at the end for questions. So feel free to start thinking and feel free to post the questions in the chat or the Q&A. All right, take it away.
All right, thank you. So today's topics are starting the search for college, application process, and the different ways to afford college. So kind of taking you through the entire college process in a kind of chronological order. Yeah, so awesome. If you guys have any questions at any point, you can send it in the chat, use the Q&A function, but we'll do our best to get back to you. Yeah. And we'll also leave 10 to 15 minutes at the end to just kind of cover any questions you've got.
Yeah. So it can be about anything we cover or anything that just college questions in general.
Yeah, we both spent like 3 years at UGA.
Yeah,
so
to our last year this fall.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We should be able to speak from our experience. And if not, well, we'll do our best to answer them.
Awesome. So we're going to share our screen down here. Hopefully y'all are able to see it. Let me move our things. So what we have here is our PowerPoint. We're going to use it a good bit today to kind of walk through the material. So our first thing is kind of the timeline you want to have in mind when you go into college.
Yeah, so the first step is just talk about it. And you should definitely talk about it with friends, parents, even your school counselor. But getting all those thoughts that you have just out is very helpful in kind of determining how you feel about something. And college, it's a big decision to make. And so you should definitely do your best to just try and think your way through it as much as possible.
Yeah, so once you begin the conversation, it's really great if you meet with your high school counselor. So your high school counselor knows a lot pretty much about most colleges. So they will be able to tell you all about what classes you need to take. They'll tell you about different schools that could be within your range, or maybe they're reach schools, so it might be a little bit more difficult for you to make. So your counselor is really a great person to turn to if you have questions about scheduling in high school so you can get to college.
Yep, and then the next step is to think about what you want to do as a job after you graduate. And this isn't something, you need to be super sure about, but knowing that you want to go into engineering, which is a very broad field, can narrow down what colleges you want to look at in the first place. So just a broad topic that you think you're interested in and that you are pretty sure you'd have fun doing after you graduate. And the next step after that is to attend college fairs, be it virtual or in person. And the reason for that is it's almost like a diluted college tour, in the sense that you have the opportunity to learn a lot about a bunch of different colleges at once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if you attend the fair and you like what you see there, you can then go and visit the campus. So you can go online to say Georgia Tech's campus or University of Alabama, Florida, or wherever you want to go. And you can go on and schedule a tour where you get to go, you get to see inside the buildings, you get to go inside classrooms and things like that.
Yeah, you'd be surprised at how important a good campus is at college, because you're going to be spending the next 4 years of your life there. So you should definitely make sure that you're happy where you're going to be.
Yeah.
We both go to UGA, and not to brag, but UGA is known for having a very beautiful campus. And the favorite part of my day was definitely walking through the Founders Garden.
Yeah.
It would just bring a smile to my face, and I did that every day. So
yeah,
it makes a big difference.
I didn't know this before visiting UGA, but UGA is filled with hills, so we continuously walk up and down all the time. It's kind of tiring.
It is, but it's a good workout.
Yeah, definitely. So once you visit the campus, you can definitely make like a list of likes and dislikes to kind of decide what you really want.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah. So after that, you need to kind of understand the difference between in-state, out-of-state, and overseas opportunities. And the reason for that is it doesn't really matter if you're super interested in, let's say, Georgia Tech, if Georgia Tech is not a feasible school for you to go to.
Yeah.
And I know it's a little blunt, but it's life. So there are 3 different kinds of colleges that you need to be aware of. In-state colleges, out-of-state colleges, and overseas colleges. In-state colleges are colleges that are in-state. You live in the state that they're located. And the reason that's important is because in-state colleges are cheap. Well, cheaper for you. And the reason for that is kind of complicated. But to make a long story short, state colleges, at least public colleges, receive funding from state governments, and they subsidize their own state citizens for going to those schools.
Yeah, so if you attend an in-state college, your tuition will tend to be cheaper than going out of state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there are also the less obvious factors, and because they're closer, oftentimes transportation costs will be cheaper. You don't need to, buy an airplane ticket. You can just drive. And also the, social aspect. You're going to be closer to your family. So you can visit, maybe once a month instead of once or twice a year. And also you may know more people. I went to school I'm from Georgia, so UGA is an in-state college for me. And I have 30 to 40 people from my high school going to UGA, which I went to a very big high school, but it's been awesome getting to, still see some of my high school friends in college. And I've managed to keep a similar, friend group around me from college or from high school to college.
Yeah.
And so that made a big difference to me.
Yeah, and I liked the in-state, it's not too far from home, still within driving distance. Yeah.
Yeah. But in-state colleges also have some disadvantages. You have less independence. And for some people that may be a pro, for some people it may be a con. But I still see my parents on a pretty regular basis. I talk to them on a pretty regular basis. And I haven't had necessarily the same experience as some of the people I've met who literally moved across the country and haven't been able to, see their parents on a monthly basis or anything like that. And they've had a different college experience than I have. Yeah. Another con might be, more people. Some people want that, quintessential.
Everyone from your high school.
Yeah, some people don't like that. Some people want that, fresh start. So different people may view these different pros and cons differently. But out-of-state colleges, they're more expensive.
Yeah, definitely more expensive. I would say add at least $10,000 extra to the tuition.
Yeah. On the other hand, you do have more independence, and that is better for some people.
Yeah. You may have to drive farther, so transportation may increase.
Yeah, but also you have a wider range of colleges that you can go to if you're willing to look at out-of-state colleges. Yeah, so you just have more options.
Yeah, a lot more options.
Yeah, and one of the biggest differences between in-state and out-of-state are scholarship opportunities. But we'll kind of touch on that once we get to
a little bit later. Yeah.
And last but not least, overseas colleges. You get to experience a different culture, but they're farther away.
So they're farther away, new cultures.
Yeah, you might get to immerse yourself in a new language.
Yeah.
And depending on the college, overseas might actually be cheaper than out of state.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It can be cheaper, but
it can also be more expensive.
Yeah, essentially plane flights might really make it about even.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we're not going to fill in this chart, but we just want y'all to be aware of these different types of colleges. So we have private universities. So it's like a 4-year college. You can get all the different kinds of degrees and majors, but they aren't affiliated with the state, so they don't get state funding.
Yeah.
So the tuition tends to be a lot higher with a private university.
Yeah, because they're entirely funded by donors and their students.
Yeah.
Public universities, on the other hand, are funded by state governments, and so they're cheaper. But just like a private university, they can offer a 4-year program. You can get, any kind of degree you would ever want at a public university, and they offer a wide range of majors.
Yeah, many majors.
Yep. And liberal
arts. What do you know about liberal arts?
So liberal arts schools, typically they're more focused on like a holistic experience. I
Okay.
think one of the better liberal arts programs is like Emory.
Okay.
And so you'll oftentimes find like English, history, less of the STEM field at liberal arts colleges. They may offer a 2-year program, they may offer a 4-year program.
Mhm.
A lot of my friends that went to liberal arts colleges did like the 2-year program and
I
then
see.
transferred to UGA.
Yeah, that's very typical.
Yeah. And then vocational technical colleges,
Mhm.
they typically offer like a specific education in I don't even know if I'd call them like a STEM field.
You could even do, it's also like a community college.
Yeah.
Like if you ever wanted to or thought about being a dental hygienist, this is where you go to get that degree and they teach you all about it.
Yes.
Electricians, I think, plumbers go to vocational schools or trade schools or community colleges, anything. You can save a lot of money by going into a
Yes.
field like that. It's definitely very good.
Yeah. Because it offers such a specific education, typically it's quicker than college, but you still do get training in a an area that's highly in demand. So electricians, they'll oftentimes go to like a vocational college. So that's about everything we're going to cover on like the different kinds of colleges. But if you have any questions about it, please feel free to ask.
Yeah, definitely put it in the chat.
Yeah.
Or in the question and answer, either one.
Yeah. So once you have an idea of what school you want to go to, you need to actually apply it. And the thing is every school has a slightly different process, but they're all very similar. So there are 2 different kinds of applications you can send in. The first is early admissions / early applications. Some schools call it a different thing. And then there's regular admissions. So early applications, and as the name implies, you send them in early. Yeah, you send them in early. Which can be a great thing if you have the grades you need to get in, and you want to go there. Why wait?
Yeah.
You can send in your application in like October, and you'll know before the last semester of high school.
Yeah, sometimes you'll even know, like, I remember I did early action is what UGA calls it, and I knew it like right before Thanksgiving. So that was really cool. But you have to be sure, even if you want to do early action, some schools are binding.
Yeah.
So that's the one reason that you would shy away from it. But if you got in and you wanted to go there, you would have to go there if it's binding. But if it's not binding, like UGA's, you could still go to a different college. You're just applying early.
Yeah. Now the disadvantage is you don't even have your senior year grades factored into your GPA at this point. So if you're right on the border and you're like, I feel like it's good enough, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And that extra semester of grades would help boost your GPA, I would hold off.
Yeah, you could hold off. And even sometimes if you apply early action and you weren't like top of the class with the early action, they'll defer you into the regular decision. And defer isn't no, it's not a deny. So you can still get in with the regular decision, even if you're denied from early action, you can just be deferred later on.
Yeah, and you can also you can get denied. Well,
you can.
You can get denied, but it's a lot more common for schools to defer applicants that they're not sure about.
Yeah.
And just say, we'll consider you with the rest of the regular decision.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you have to take the SAT or the ACT or both and then get your better score of the 2. You want to start taking those your junior year, I believe?
Yeah, at the very least start studying for them your junior year.
Yeah.
Because if you do want to apply early action, early admission, whatever you want to call it, you have less time to take those tests.
Yeah.
So that's another reason you might not want to apply early, is you want to take another round of SATs and ACTs.
Yeah, you can take them multiple times. So another thing that schools will do is if you take it multiple times, they'll do something called a super score on your application. So say you take the ACT one time and then you take it another time, and say you did good on math one time and the other time you did bad on math. What they'll do is they'll take all of your highest scores and that will be your new ACT score.
Yeah, they break it down by section.
Yeah,
so your highest math grade, highest reading grade, highest science grade, it all comes together to make one, as Catherine said, super score.
Awesome. So that's really helpful, especially if your school will do that.
Yeah. Regular decision, on the other hand, it's basically the same thing, just a couple months later. And you can either get accepted or denied regular decision. There is no deferral, but you can get put on a wait list. And a wait list is essentially, as the name says.
Yeah, you're waiting to see if anyone decides not to go there, then you take their spot.
All right.
Okay, so this is our timeline here. So in the month of September, you want to have at least 4 to 8 colleges you're interested in. And then you want to start applying for these scholarships around then. So start looking, we'll get into scholarships later. You're going to figure out the application requirements. So the school can either have the application on the school's website, or they could do it through something called the Common App. Let me show y'all the Common App.
So the Common App is, you fill out one application and you can send that one application to a bunch of different schools. It really streamlines the process.
And there's 900 colleges on it. So you can, you can find the college, and they have certain essays on here that are just part of the Common App. And they already, if you're planning to apply for college in the fall, you can already go ahead and start looking at the essays they have present. So you can even start writing them now and really tweak them and make them really great.
Some colleges on the Common App will have specific essays for that one application, but it's so much easier to just put all your information in once and then maybe write one additional essay instead of having to fill out the same information over and over again.
Yeah, so that's what you would do in September. And then sometimes around October, you have to start getting letters of recommendation. You register for certain exams if you need them, and you download a bunch of different things. So then in November, or if you do early action, it's due around here. So you would have to send in your ACT high school transcript earlier. So make sure that you follow the timeline that the school gives you, not necessarily ours. This is just a general one. So you send it all in and around November, you complete it in December and submit it. You'll start to get decision letters around March. And then May 1st is the big day across the country where you have to say you're going to the college and you commit. So if you don't do it by May 1st, you're not going, basically.
And we'll briefly talk about what colleges look for in applications, but we're not experts.
No.
We'll preface all this by saying we're not experts.
We've just been there.
Yeah, we've been there. So.
Oh, here we go.
Ooh.
Here we go.
All right. So this is actually a super relevant question.
Yeah.
Is there an advantage for a person to take an AP exam while already in college or after college? So I would say there isn't an advantage to taking an AP exam while you're in college, because you could just take the corresponding college course, and then you get all the information that they want you to get.
But if you've taken the class in high school and you just didn't sit for the exam then, you can take it in college and potentially get the college credit. But since you take the exams in May, you wouldn't get your score until July. So then you don't know if you need to register for it or not when you're in college. And college classes go like this. Or you could register for it and then drop it if you got the credit. So, I mean, if you wanted to study for a certain exam, you could, or if you're trying to save money, you definitely could do it that way. But if you fail the AP exam, then you'll just have to sit for the class either way.
Yeah, and then after college, I don't think there's an advantage to taking an AP exam after you graduated.
Yeah.
Because you don't need the college credit. You've already gotten the material from the class itself, or any self-study you've done. So I don't see the point.
Yeah, and if you want to take AP Gov in high school and say you didn't sit for the exam in high school, but then you want to sit for it in college, but what you can do is some schools, I know UGA offers a government exam where you can just accept the course by taking their test.
Yeah.
So that can save you a lot of money, because I think your tests are under like $100. So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah. So, but thank you for bringing up AP exams, because APs are something that colleges look for when you apply. So it depends on the college. I know that UGA was looking for something crazy like 6 to 8 AP exams.
Yeah.
Or AP classes.
Yeah.
Different colleges have different expectations in terms of AP. either classes. Some even want you to have a certain number of exams that you've passed. But just make sure you do some independent research and figure out what your college is looking for. And then they also look at your GPA. So your GPA, it can differ depending on the school you go to or how whatever program you're in calculates it. But your GPA, as you can see here, is like a solid quarter of what they look for.
Yeah.
And again, different colleges have different expectations. But
Yeah,
I would say like a solid 3.0 is,
great.
Yeah, it is. And
people rank it differently. So sometimes all schools are differently how they do their GPAs differently. So the school, like whatever college you apply to, they will take your transcript and then see what you have done, and then they will make their own GPA based on your transcript. So you fit their mold of what they want.
Yeah.
But you don't have to do that. They do it for you.
Yeah. For example, my school capped GPAs at 4.0. So let's say I was in an AP exam or an AP class and I got like a natural 95. They would add 10 points, so I'd technically have like 105, but they wouldn't give me a 5.0.
Yeah.
Other schools in my district did. So some of my friends had like a solid 4.2, but I ended up having like a 3.8. And even though we had gotten very similar grades throughout high school.
Yeah, so like my high school, what we would do, so if you took on-level honors or AP, they would give you quality points. So if you took on-level and then you get a 4.0, honors would be a 4.5 to the GPA, and then AP would be a 5.0. So then it would all be together and be at a 4.0. So that's how you see someone getting above a 4.0 is when they factor in all the stuff. So since it's like so different even between us getting into UGA took our transcripts and made it to what they want, so they knew what to do with us.
Yep. So
exactly.
Because the GPA is such an important part of getting into college, you need to be like thinking about your grades, even your freshman year of high school.
Yeah, freshman year of high school grades really do matter.
Yeah.
As much as you might think they don't, they definitely do.
Yeah, and if you remember, early applications were due in October. So
they aren't going to see your first semester senior year.
Yeah, your colleges won't know. So that's why your freshman year is so important. It's a solid third of your GPA.
Yeah, but you still have to keep your grades up senior year, even if they aren't going to see it, because if you fail your classes, then it's a conditional acceptance. They can revoke your acceptance and you no longer can get in.
Yeah. Other things they look for are your essays. And they put a surprising amount of like attention into your essays, because that's where they get to hear from you and they get to hear your voice, even if it's through a page. So just spend some time on those essays. They're important, and try your best. There's not much else I can say about it, because it's your voice, it's your opinions, it's your experiences, and it's your writing style. And
I know UGA, for their early application, you write the essay, but they don't necessarily really factor it in. It's just grades. So it really just depends on the school. We talk about UGA a lot because we're there. We know about it.
Yeah.
Can't tell you too much about it.
Yeah. If you want us to take a look at a specific school, let us know.
Type it in the chat when we go through certain things.
Yeah.
Because we're from Georgia, so we know a lot about Georgia. But other states are not our specialty. But we can look it up for sure.
Yeah. And is there anything else? Oh, standardized tests.
Oh, standardized tests.
Yeah. So your SAT or your ACT or both.
I took it like 6 times. Because it was hard for me to do it.
I took my ACT like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And the good thing about some schools is they'll super score it. So if you know that you're going to a school that super scores, it might be worth your time to just focus in on one specific section for like a certain test.
Yeah, you could take it like 4 times, like the ACT. One section, you do it, focus on it once, then the next one you do one, and so on and so forth, and then you just super score it, and bam, you have a huge ACT.
Yeah.
Or SAT, so like 2 sections?
ACT is like 4.
SAT.
I don't know about this.
SAT, I don't remember. But
and you only have to take one.
Yeah.
So, for example, I took the ACT, never took the SAT. It sounds like you took.
I took both because I didn't know they were about even. So.
Yeah. And there are certain strategies to taking these tests. We're not gonna get into it here.
Yeah,
Because this is about college, not necessarily standardized testing.
but if you have a question, we can answer it. There's books at like Barnes and Noble, Amazon you can order. They're not too expensive. I think like maybe 20, 30 bucks.
Yeah,
That'll definitely help.
yeah.
Just practice. The best thing you can do is just practice the questions.
Oh, for sure. I know that they've released previous year's ACTs, and the format doesn't change, merely the content. Like, so they'll give you like a different story for the reading section, but they'll ask similar questions about it. So once you take like enough practice ACTs or previous ACTs, you feel pretty good about it, and it just becomes pretty routine. The only real difference is the environment changes that you take it in.
Are there official prep courses for the SAT that is approved? Yeah, so this website is very helpful. What's it called? It starts with a K.
Khan Academy?
Khan Academy. I don't know if y'all have heard of this. This one's for the SAT. The ACT, I just use books, but this one's really helpful because you can sign up and it's affiliated with the College Board, and they will take your test score. You don't have to pay for it. This is just a donation. But when you log into it, they will take the SAT score you got and then they put it into their system and they will see what you need to work on. So they help you work through different, hold on. Let me get like SAT. There we go. Okay, yeah, official SAT practice. Here we go. And this is completely free so that you can like connect your College Board account, and yeah, again, they will help give you questions that you need to work on.
Yeah, great question.
That's a really good question. As a ACT, do you remember any besides books?
I never took an official one. I didn't really look into it. Going through one of these courses is very helpful, but don't feel like you need to go through an official course or any kind of course or book to do well.
Yeah.
Self-study is possible. It's just you need some strong discipline to keep yourself focused, and you need to do a little bit more independent research just so you know what you need to be studying.
Yeah, so they really help you. These are more independent. You have to physically go through and practice it. And another fun thing is they have AP practice as well. So if you need help practicing for your AP college exam, here you go. This will help as well. So definitely write down Khan Academy.
Yeah.
Very important. I'll leave it up here so you can remember. Okay. Any other? That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask.
These are great questions.
I think we're good to move on.
Yeah, I think this next part is really important. So FAFSA, free application for federal student aid. Even if you won't, like based on your financial situation, maybe receive any money from the government, you have to fill this out every single year.
Yep.
And you have to reapply every single year. Because if you do not fill it out, your school will not give you any money. Even like your school scholarship. But it's like federal, but it's not. It helps the school, so the school uses it on their end as well.
Yeah, and there's some information on there that the school needs.
Yes.
So that's not even necessarily related to finance, like federal aid.
Yeah, your parents usually will help you go through it because you have to link their tax documents to it.
Yeah.
It's really easy. It seems scarier than it is, but I'm gonna warn y'all, the earlier you apply, the better. So they open the application around October, if that's when you're gonna go, or your senior year, you can start doing it. It's very important to fill it out. So if you're new, which if you're in high school, you would be new, so you start here. But for us, we've done this, this will be our 4th time this year, because I guess we're going to our master's program, we need it. So we would be a returning user, I guess our 5th time. And yeah, you have a login. Write down all of your logins and usernames as well for anything for this process.
Yeah, I just like Google Chrome handle it, but
yeah.
It's probably a good idea to.
Yeah, because each school, to get in to see your decision letter, you're going to have a username and password. You're going to have a username and password for this, other things we need. So just keep a sheet of paper. Maybe give it to your parents so they can keep it in a folder or something.
Yeah, I would put it on a sheet of paper.
Yeah, I would put it all. Just write down every single thing, because if you lose your username and password for this, I don't know what you would do.
There's probably
a forgot, but definitely. See, I'll show you. It's gonna ask us for it. Yeah, see, I'm the student and you're a parent. So you have to do it as the student and then your parent has to as well. So there's a lot to that.
And that's one of the, sorry, going back to the whole password thing, that's one of the benefits of like the Common App is all of that information is in one central location.
Definitely.
And you don't have to worry about just having like 20 different accounts for each college you applied for. But
Yeah.
all right, so the FAFSA, you may not even get anything out of it, but you need to do it.
Yes.
On the other hand, you may get a grant out of it. And
Yeah.
that leads us into our next topic, which are grants.
Grants.
So grants are, I guess I'm gonna just
It's like
essentially
a
free
gift.
money.
Yeah, it is.
It's free money, but you have to use it for a specific purpose.
Yeah. You don't pay them back.
You don't pay them back. That's definitely one of the most important
And
parts.
they're based on need.
Yeah.
So it's not like a scholarship where they can be based on your grades. Grants are specifically based on need. The biggest one I can think of is the Pell Grant.
Yeah.
So I can show y'all one you might get, the Pell Grant.
So the Pell Grant, it's from the FAFSA.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
essentially after you fill out FAFSA, later in life, they're gonna send you an email, I think, over what you get. So if you get Pell, they will send it to you. You do not have to pay this back. There's no interest or loans with it.
They just give you this money to spend on school. And again, as Catherine said, it's based on need, not merit. And that's the main difference between a grant and a scholarship. You earn a scholarship, you're given a grant based on your need for a grant.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So if anyone has any questions on the FAFSA or grants,
Yes.
then please let us know.
Yeah, you can also get loans from the federal government through FAFSA. That's the federal also. But a loan is different from the grant because you're gonna have to pay back the loan.
With interest.
With interest, yes. So you
Yeah.
get compounds over time.
Although there are some federal loans that have a grace period while you're still in college to where you don't need to pay it back and there's no interest.
Probably.
Yeah, so there's different loans available and each one's a little bit different.
Yeah, so you can get a loan from the government or you can even get a loan from the bank. So many banks will also give out loans. So that will also help pay for college. I
Yeah,
don't know much about loans in that regard, like
just-
interest and stuff, but that would be in your terms of the loan, which you'd have to read through. But
yeah, but that's why the FAFSA is so important. There are so many opportunities available through it that you're really putting yourself at a disadvantage if you don't fill it out.
yeah,
Even disregarding all the school stuff you'll be missing out on that you just need to fill out the FAFSA for.
yeah,
That's it.
definitely. October 1st, I think every year it opens. I sometimes just do it over Christmas break because I'm home with my mom and I will help her and she'll help me. So even if you do it around Christmas, like if you're in college and you need to go home to do it, that's totally fine. Take the time to do it. What is this? Yeah.
Yeah, so now moving on to scholarships. So scholarships are similar to grants in the sense that they're just money that you don't have to pay back, except scholarships you need to apply for and are oftentimes based on merit, but they can also be, as you can see here, based on financial need. And the reason like a scholarship would be based on need as opposed to just being a grant is there's just less available for it.
Yeah, so scholarships, like I think in high school, I volunteered with the Red Cross, so they gave me a $500 scholarship when I started out. So it was just based on something that I did, volunteer, stuff like that. So it could be based on background, other abilities. Sports is a big one.
Oh yeah, so you hear all the time about someone being very good at like football or basketball and getting a full ride to a certain school. All a full ride means is the school has awarded them a scholarship that covers all the tuitions and maybe any other costs that would be there at that college.
Yeah.
The thing with some scholarships is they have requirements that you need to meet in order to maintain that scholarship. So going back to the whole sports example,
You have to play the sport. You
Yeah.
can't quit in college, then they'll
Yeah.
take away the scholarship.
and you might need to maintain a certain grade, or you need to go
Yeah.
to like 3 practices a week. I
Or
don't know.
take my friend has a scholarship that he was given based on his background, ethnicity, culture, and he has to take a class every once in the 4 years he's at school. So that's something that's conditional of his scholarship. So there's just things you have to be aware of. And some scholarships you can reapply all 4 years, or maybe your requirement is that you have to reapply to keep the scholarship. So it's definitely important to read what the scholarship needs you to do because you want to keep it.
Yeah, and because scholarships have certain requirements that you need to meet, you need to be looking at these scholarships way before you start applying for college. I think the best example that I have is the Hope and the Zelda Miller scholarship here in Georgia. So the Hope and Zelda Miller scholarship are based in Georgia and they're funded by our lottery system. So people, play the lottery and the money they spend on that goes towards funding citizens' higher education.
Our education, yeah.
Thing is you need to have very good grades to get these scholarships.
Yeah.
So the Zelda Miller, you need a 3.7 GPA.
So yeah, the Hope GPA is the key. So there's this website here called Georgia Futures. I'm gonna pull it up because it's very important. So they recalculate your GPA just like any school would. So you make an account with them as well.
Mhm.
So again, the password thing, very important. You want to start, your high school counselor, if you're in Georgia, would tell you when to create the account. I think they'll even help you make it. I'm not sure.
My school took me into the computer lab, sat us down and said, make this, and you can't get up until you do.
Yep, so definitely important, definitely write this down, write down your passwords, usernames. So they recalculate everything. Zelda Miller is full tuition. They pay for just the tuition, not room and board. We can get into what that means as well.
But I mean, look at that, a 3.7 GPA and at least a 26 or 1200.
Mm-hmm.
That's not easy. And
It's
that's
not
something
easy,
you have to work for that. And
Yeah.
you need to be working for that throughout your high school career. So you need to be aware of the expectations on you so that you can, work to meet them. And that's why having, a conversation before high school and your freshman or sophomore year is helpful because, it gives you a goal to be working towards.
Mm-hmm. And then other states also have a lottery system. I was able to look this up. So if you live in any of these states, they also have something similar: Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, New Mexico, South Carolina, Tennessee, West Virginia. So I don't know what theirs are, but definitely look into them.
And there are scholarships available that are similar in what they cover, but they might be, funded differently or have maybe like different requirements in other states.
Yeah.
It's a Google search away.
It is a Google search. I don't know the answer to your question. I think the video is being recorded, so you might get a copy of the video. That's where it would be, but you can definitely pause the video and be able to look at our PowerPoint. I mean, we might be able to send a link to it. I don't know. We'll have to talk at the end. I'm not sure.
But so that's the Hope and Zelda Miller scholarship.
It's really cool.
It is, and it does make life so much easier for us.
Yeah, so what we meant by tuition versus room and board. So tuition is what you pay to go to the school, and then room and board is like your housing, food, fees, books.
Yeah, I always get room and board confused. One room stands for where you live, but
and then the board, it came from back in the day at some school, they ate with a board on their lap, and then the board was their table, so that's where that came from.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I learned that in my global ag class in college. See, you'll learn a lot in college. It's pretty cool. All right, lastly, so not all scholarships are based on grades. Before we go there, school given scholarships. So these are more if you're looking to go out of state. Well, some are in state, but I want to show y'all this. University of Alabama, they really lay it out very clearly.
They do.
It's so clear with what they do. So this is where it gets where you go. So let's say if you're an out-of-state freshman, because we would be out of state, what you can do is it tells you how to do everything. And then you come down here and you look at all of their stuff. But they had this really good page. Hold on. Oh goodness, I don't know where I'm looking. Okay, there's a place. where they have a table. I'm trying to find the table, hold on. And it's basically a chart. So if you have this SAT score and this GPA, that's what you get. That's the money you get per year. Do you remember where the table was? Okay, yeah, hold on, we're gonna find it. We just want to give you an example. So any school that you go to, you can basically do school scholarships, and it will take you like to their financial aid page. You just kind of have to do some research on the website.
Oh,
Yeah. So maybe click on out-of-state freshmen,
scholarship policy.
maybe.
All
Hold
right.
on, we're gonna find
Yeah,
it.
we'll look for it. But the reason we brought this up in the first place is just to let y'all know that there are options available to you. If you don't live in Georgia or one of the other states that have, merit-based scholarships available to everyone, well, then the school you're applying to might cover it for you. And they're not hard to find, despite the fact
Despite that
that
we
we're
can't-
struggling.
Hold on, it's in here somewhere.
Could they have taken it down because it's after May 1st?
Could be. It was here this afternoon. Oh no. Hold on, I will find it.
Yeah, but schools do offer scholarships, and it's not necessarily something you need to be worried about.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
but FAFSA is the way that you get it.
yeah, you need to fill out the FAFSA. If you take nothing else away from this entire workshop
1
webinar,
hour.
then
FAFSA is the most important thing that you can do.
yeah. Okay, so
Yeah,
that's our.
scholarship, grants and loans.
I've not been keeping up with checking stuff off. And the last thing we're going to cover is some expenses that you'll definitely be facing once you go to college.
Yeah, definitely.
So the first one, housing. You need to live somewhere. Most colleges require you to live on campus in a dorm as you're a freshman. And you do have to pay for it. And oftentimes dorms, well, I say oftentimes, depending on your school, dorms might actually be more expensive than renting an apartment.
Depends on the location. Like if you're in New York City at a college, it would be probably cheaper to live on campus because New York housing market, it's crazy.
Yeah, but we live in Athens, which is no New York.
It's
And
not New York.
UGA's dorms, depending on which dorm you went to, were actually more expensive.
Yes, they're interesting. They have some have community bathrooms, some have suite style. We can show you if you want us to look up a school that you are interested in, you can send us a chat.
So we did just get a question that we
Oh.
totally missed. Are these classes of rigor, honors, and AP?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you can look up classes of rigor online. So you can look up Georgia Futures classes of rigor.
Yeah. Because each school kind of differentiates class divisions differently, it will change depending on what school you're at. University of Florida.
Yeah, University of Florida. Okay, would you want to see the housing or classes of rigor?
I would assume housing.
Okay, I'm gonna go with that.
But sorry, going back to expenses that you'll definitely face, housing. So
Oh, wait, this is an apartment near campus. Hold on, this is not on. Here we go, university.
no, that's another one.
Oh my goodness. See, they put the ads right before we can click on it. Okay, hold on. Housing,
Yeah, that's
this
it.
is it.
Yeah.
Gators. Okay, yeah. And we can look at Arizona State as well, definitely. So this is the residence halls. I'm assuming this is where you would probably live. So on campus living, perfect. So
So they actually do a little pros and cons thing for us before we would even cover it. So, no,
oh, I'm sorry. Okay, here we go.
no. So here you can see
Okay.
living in a residence hall, what they offer. So I think the biggest one is proximity. They say seconds away from all the action. What they really mean is a walk away from class. And that's probably the biggest benefit to living on campus. That being said, it's not like it's a huge deal. it's nice, but it's no deal breaker, at least in my opinion, it isn't. And if you do live off campus, you're just a drive or a bus ride away.
Yeah, I'm a bus ride, and then UGA parking is not the best. So if you live off campus, definitely consider parking before you see how far you're gonna live.
Yeah, and so that's a great point. If you live on campus, you don't have to pay for transportation because almost every college offers some form of like a bus system. And also, you don't have to worry about food because, well, if you're a freshman, you have to have a meal plan. At least at UGA, you do.
Yeah.
And so you could just walk to the dining hall and then walk back, and well, there's your lunch.
Yeah.
So the disadvantages to living in a dorm, roommates.
Yeah, definitely difficult.
And when I say roommates, I don't mean like you're, sharing a living space with someone. I mean
you share a room.
Yeah, you share a literal room with them.
And sometimes you share a room, and then it's like a community bathroom with 40 other people. They're not as bad as you might think, but they're okay. So yeah, you can go into these apartment styles, like everyone has their own room. You share like a kitchen.
A kitchen, like a little living room, and suite style means.
We can click on this one.
Yeah, so suite style means you have a bath and a bed.
Yeah, so this is like, you can go on Florida's website, we'll do Arizona State, and you can like see inside of the rooms, what they offer. So usually suite styles, like two people, like two people in a room, and then they're connected by a bathroom.
So it's like a mini community bathroom.
Yes.
I don't know. It's a weird mix between a private bathroom and a shared one.
Yeah, and they all have twin XL beds. Oh, these are full-size beds. That's nice. So those probably aren't like bunk beds.
Laundry facilities sound nice, but what it really means is you're sharing like a couple of laundry machines with everyone in your building.
That's true.
So
yes,
definitely something to be aware of. So while she's pulling up Arizona State, I'll talk about living off campus. So it's probably more expensive, or less expensive, I guess, depending on where you live. You have more space, you have more freedom, but you have to cover utilities, so you have to pay for your own water, electricity. Am I missing one? I feel like I'm missing one.
Water, power,
internet,
and cable.
Yeah.
Sometimes trash.
Really?
Yes. Where I currently live, I live in a townhome. It's me and 3 other roommates. Two upstairs share a bathroom, 2 in the basement. Me and my roommate, we share a bathroom, and then within our rent, which we pay per month, every single utility is included. So my cable, internet, Wi-Fi, everything is included.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing with living off campus though is it's far away. Well, at least relative to living on campus.
So the closer you live to campus, the more expensive it might be.
Yep.
Yep.
So here is Arizona State.
So let's do housing options. You can also look at the rates. So if you're going to be a freshman, let's just assume the communities are like the dorms. So you can, I guess, the honors college, if you were in that, you go there. You can apply to live in there. You don't necessarily have to, as it is at UGA. So they have a bunch of different places that you could, wait. These are not, okay, residential colleges. Oh, so these are like, if you're in a residential college, it's like if you're in a certain college for a certain major, you can live with people in your major.
Yeah.
So you just have to go through and find freshman housing. I guess, okay, communities are different. I don't know, but this website's a little different, but they have different types of housing in different areas. But I just saw something that was helpful. Meal plans.
Yeah, so
let's click on that.
Here's another expense that you need to be aware of. Meal plans.
Food.
Because
They're
food is
pretty
important.
good food.
Yeah. Depending on where you're going, they'll have like different programs, but a common one are swipes. So you have like a certain amount of times you're allowed to enter the dining hall, either per day, per week, or for the entire semester. Other colleges use like fake dollars where you pay the school and they like load points onto your card, and then you like buy different food. Yeah. Like using points. So here they call it gold dollars and maroon dollars. What?
It's like if you use those, it's usually tax free. So we have Chick-fil-A. So Chick-fil-A's menu price is what you pay. You don't add tax to it. So it's technically like tax free, but you also already paid for it. So, and then here's the swipe. Unlimited means you get to go to the dining hall unlimited times per week, and you can add the gold dollars where you can go to like restaurants on campus, like Starbucks. We have Panda Express, pizza, things like that. And then they have like 14 meals per week. That would be 2 a day. I always did the unlimited my freshman year because I'm living there. I could get food before, after, and during. I mean, not during class, but like
in the middle.
In between.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna call it there so we have time to answer any questions y'all have. I see one that we missed. If my school does not offer an AP course, where can I take one? That's a good question.
Oh, I think online.
Yeah, so I think you can, you should be able to take, so do you mean the AP test or do you mean the AP course itself?
Also, if your school doesn't offer it, the college takes that into account.
Yeah, so my high school offered a ton of AP classes, so we were expected to meet the full 6 to 8 AP classes for admissions.
But I think you can do it. So if you're in a certain school, whatever state you're in, you can look up like an online high school program, and you can take like one class through it. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know much, but I think that's what some people did at my high school.
Yeah, I know you can independently register for an exam. Yeah. I don't know about the class itself.
But I think it's through like online. Yeah. Awesome. That's a good question. Sorry about that.
Yeah, so the AP course itself.
Yeah, so I would say definitely, I think it's through online schools.
Yeah. You also may be able to find like some courses on like Khan Academy. I know that that's more of like a study thing, but they do offer some classes, don't they? Yeah. And then also I know on YouTube, if you guys have ever heard of that like Crash Course series,
Those are helpful.
Yeah, I feel like maybe they didn't teach it, but they did enough review where it could like help you do like an independent study option. But yeah, I'm not 100% positive about that one.
Sorry. Yeah, that's interesting. But I would look at like a online school and see if you're able to do that. Like you just take one course, you don't transfer. Yeah.
Does anyone have any other questions? Either about what we talked about, so I guess any of the topics, or our experience at college, maybe something you're nervous about, or just something that you haven't had like an opportunity to ask anyone who's in college?
Yeah, I had some questions like what's dorm life like? Oh, I had questions about scheduling classes. That was it's a little stressful. One website that you can definitely use, it's called CourseOff.
Oh, that's a lifesaver.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and show you that because that's so important. It's essentially a place where you can look at all the courses your school offers and kind of put them into like different hopefully y'all can see it. Yeah. So you can like put your school in it and you can see how you can build your schedule.
Yeah, so we're at the University of Georgia, so we're just going to go through the University.
Fall 2021.
Yeah, and so you could just start looking through all the subjects. So the way classes are organized in college is they have this prefix, which talks about the subject. I'm a fan of history, so I'll just type in history. And then you can see every class that's offered in the history programs at UGA.
And the higher the number, the more advanced.
Yeah, so
6,000 to 8,000 are master's levels usually. Yeah. Even 5,000, 6,000 at UGA.
So
I think we have another question. CLEP exam.
I don't know what a CLEP exam
I've heard of it. It might come to me if we add an extra tab to see. Yeah, so, I'm not sure. I think I've heard of it. We'll look it up. Sorry about that. Yeah. Get college credit. So college level examination is a group of standardized tests created and administered.
So is this like you could test into it? Yeah, sorry, I've never heard of a CLEP exam.
I've never heard of it at all. So I would probably just I guess it's a test where you can sit and get college credit without taking a college course. You just study for it. Yeah, that's what Google told us. Yeah.
All right. So if we have
Do you know a good place to find any information you need? Google?
yeah.
I mean, Google's really helpful. Talking to people already in college is helpful.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, so to quickly go back to scheduling, it's as easy as pressing on one. Then you can choose what time you want. And this way you could like visually build your schedule. And when you go to register for classes, which you have to go through the university's website, they'll ask for this reference number. You could just copy and paste.
Yeah.
All right. So
that's how you do that.
yeah, that's one of the common questions we've gotten and that we had ourselves.
Yeah, we're sorry that Google's really helpful. The school's website is really helpful. Scholarship 360 is a place you can go to look up non-merit based ones. So Scholarship 360, I actually have it in our thing. I'm going to share the screen one more time. Sorry so much. Sharing. Here we go. Let me share this one more thing. Yeah, scholarships360.org and then scholarships.com. So these are really helpful places that you can go for non-merit-based scholarships.
Yep.
These are very helpful.
But it's everything we had. So
any more questions?
Yeah, any more questions? You can put it in the chat. So use the Q&A function.
Yeah, life at college. Anything like that? Moving questions, moving in questions. It's that time of the year.
Oh.
Things you need in a dorm, things we didn't think of to put in the dorm.
All I'm going to say about dorms is, well, I guess two things. One, know whether or not your dorm has an elevator so that you're not surprised on move-in day, like I was. And also make sure you have help when you're moving in.
Your parents bring them.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. My roommate ended up like hurting his wrist as we were moving in. Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah.
I had to carry everything up 3 flights of stairs.
I had an elevator, so that was helpful.
Yeah. Are you allowed to pick who your roommate is? So
yeah, actually.
Yes, you can pick who your roommate is. Every college has their own kind of different way of handling, like assigning roommates. So that's going to be very dependent on where you end up going. But
Yeah.
everyone lets you choose your roommate. And if you don't know anyone who's going to that college, there are Facebook groups. Some colleges offer their own like pseudo social media for like roommates to find each other.
Yeah, it's usually on the housing website's page. It's usually like roommate match. So once you're admitted to the college, I would recommend, even if you don't know if you're going, that it's kind of a maybe, put your housing deposit down because then you secure a spot for housing. So you can pick exactly what dorm you want. And then once you're in the college in that portal, you can begin to talk to people on that website and get to know them if you don't know anybody. But if you already have a friend, maybe an acquaintance, I would say you can put it into the portal and then make a roommate group, and then you put that into the group that you want to get.
Yeah.
It's a lot more confusing than it sounds. I was overwhelmed with it, but
yeah, I knew from the get-go who my roommate was, so I never even had to worry about it.
I found one as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how you do that. It's really dependent on schools, but you can definitely pick your roommate.
Yeah, great question.
Good, awesome. Any other questions? Anything at all? It is 3 o'clock, but if you have anything else.
Yeah, we'll be here.
Yeah.
Perfect. I think that is our time. But thank you all for coming so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I hope you all had a good time and learned a lot. So,
Yeah.
all right. Thanks, everyone.